No, welcome to Barca News. It is February 9th, 2026, and Joan Laporta has officially resigned as Barcelona's president. Also, we have confirmation of the timeline for the completion of the Spotify Camp Nou. And finally, we're going to talk about the Dubai deal that Barcelona's board of directors just approved. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Bo. This is the Barca News live podcast that where not only we discuss Barcelona news, but we're also going to interact with the lovely people in the chat section by reading your comments, answering your questions, and getting a discussion going live. So start filling out that chat section so we can get this popping. Of course, the podcasts are on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And for those of you who don't want to listen to the comment section, you can skip through by using the chapters or the chapters in the timeline or the timestamps in the description. Having said all that, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. If you're looking for any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, make sure to go Kids, Get Back, or Fanatics. If you are looking to place any sports bets, make sure to bet us. All links are down below in the description. Click on them, you get access to some pretty cool deals and offers. All right, with that intro out the way, let's begin with the news because, of course, today, as expected, the president of FC Barcelona, Football Club Barcelona, Joan Laporta, resigned in order to, run for re-election in this 2026 election campaign. Now, as you know, there are several candidates that will be running against Joan Laporta, including Victor Font, Xavi Villajuana, Marc Siria, and who am I forgetting? Victor Font, Villajuana, Siria. I think that's it, right? And Joan Laporta, that makes it 4. There is a 5th candidate that has added his name. We're going to talk about him in a little bit. But now let's focus on Joan Laporta because according to Barcelona's rules or Barcelona's statutes or the bylaws to be more accurate, whoever is president, if they want to run for re-election, they have to resign in order to run for re-election. So this is why Joan Laporta is resigning. He's not resigning in disgrace. He's not resigning because of a scandal. He's simply resigning to run for re-election. Now, while Joan Laporta runs his campaign, his vice president or Barcelona's vice president, Rafa Yuste, will be the acting president of FC Barcelona alongside a third of the board of directors who have remained in power because per the rules again or per the bylaws, a third of the board has to stay active in order to run the club. Now, who are the other people from Laporta's board of directors who have resigned in order to run for re-election with him? Well, includes the Vice President for Institutional Affairs, Elena Fort, Vice President for Social Affairs, Antonio Escudero, Directors Ferran Olivier, Josep Maria Albert, Javier Barbany, Miquel Camps, Aureli Mas, Javier Puig, and Joan Soler. All these board of director members have resigned alongside with Joan Laporta so they can run together because that's usually how these elections work. You don't just elect the president, you elect their entire board who they select. So it's going to be Laporta and all these individuals running as one. And then, of course, Victor Font, I'm sure he'll announce his board of directors soon. So is Marc Siria, so Xavi Villajuana. Now, Joan Laporta did have some statements ahead of his resignation. And this is what he had to say. I leave with pride and by statutory imperative. This is what I'm talking about. Per the rules, you have to resign in order to run for re-election. You cannot be running a campaign while you're also the president of Barcelona. So this is what he means by statutory imperative. We leave with the pride that Barca is better than 5 years ago. We have made difficult decisions, but we are proud of the ones we have made. Some have been painful, but they have always been to protect the club. Thanks to them, speaking about his board of directors, a fundamental stability has been maintained to save the club. If we had not made decisions, the club would have collapsed, and this has not been the case. They have given us the confidence we needed, with understanding for the move to Montjuic for the preparation of the templates. We want to continue because we want to complete the work done and, if possible, improve it. We know how to do it, and that's why we introduce ourselves. We are the ones who know the most about what has been done in all areas: sports, economic, institutional, and social. We come from a historic season. Everything has been working well. So, in other words, Joan Laporta, he's saying, look, I've done a great job. I've saved the club. I'm running again because I'm the one who knows best about what's been done. And if you want continuity, if you want good work to continue to be done, well, you got to vote for me. This pretty much is a summary of his statement. Now, I got to say, this is going to be a very exciting month. Of course, the election is on March 15th. I'm pretty sure Joan Laporta is going to win because, as we've seen in the past, as long as the team is doing well, whoever is president usually wins election. Remember Bartomeu, the worst president in history of the club? They wanted him out, but then Luis Enrique wins the treble with the MSN. And what happens? Well, he wins re-election. So I think, setting everything aside, the fact that the team is doing well under Flick, that's most likely going to mean that Joan Laporta will win again. But nonetheless, I'm very excited for this month because, of course, during this month, we're going to start hearing different ideas from different candidates and see what everyone has to offer. And this is why I'm excited, because I want to see what everyone has to offer, what kind of ideas they have, because, of course, what makes institutions stronger, what makes cities and countries stronger is diversity of opinion, is diversity of thought. Something that, unfortunately, lately, a lot of people are afraid of or they run away from. And you shouldn't, because 2 brains think better than 1, 5 brains think better than 1, 10 brains think better than 1. And diversity of thought is something beautiful, because when you have different people thinking differently and offering different things, when you put all those ideas together, you can form a much better plan, a much better idea than if just one person is doing. And fortunately, we have that at Barcelona, right? Because we are a pluralistic football club where we get to elect our president and our board every 5 or 6 years. And we get fresh people in there, and we get fresh ideas, and we get to hear from other candidates and hear their ideas. This is not Real Madrid, where it's just Florentino Perez, and he does what he wants, and whoever doesn't like it, well, too bad, right? He is the supreme leader. Whatever he says is the law. That's not the case in Barcelona. We get this beautiful pluralistic thing that we get to do every 5 years, where we get to elect someone. We get to hear everyone's ideas, and based on their ideas, we get to choose who we want to run the club. And that's why I'm very excited for this month. I'm very excited to hear what everyone has to offer. And of course, I'm going to be here to cover it. So if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do. And well, make sure you hit the bell button so you get notifications from once I upload any video. Now, I do want to implore you to do one thing, and that is to try to keep an open mind, because that's what I'm going to be doing. You know me, I'm an associate. I could vote, even though Laporta has announced there will be no mail voting. Not happy about that whatsoever, because I think in doing this, Laporta is limiting who can vote, because Barcelona has socios all around the world. And in order to vote in this election, you have to be in Barcelona. So I think this is the equivalent of voter suppression. Not happy about that. But nonetheless, I'm going to be keeping an open mind, because I want to hear what everyone has to offer. And based on that, I'll make my decision on who I can vote for. And I implore you to do the same. Even if you're not a soci, keep an open mind, listen to what everyone is saying, and decide on your own. And when it comes to listening to people like me, YouTubers or content creators, if you see someone immediately telling you, you have to vote for Laporta, it's Laporta or nothing, or you have to vote for Fon, tune it out. Because that person has an agenda. Because I'm not telling you who to vote. I'm just telling you, keep an open mind, listen to everyone, and then decide on your own. Because after all, that's how a democracy or a pluralistic society or a club should operate. Everybody offers their ideas, and the best idea wins. But these people who are hardcore, oh, Laporta or nothing, or oh, Font or nothing, avoid those people, because, well, as we've seen, Fanatism doesn't lead anywhere. Anyways, as I mentioned a few moments ago, there is a new candidate that has entered the election. I don't know anything about him. This is the first time I hear about him. His name is William Maddock, and he just announced his candidacy. So I'm sure we're going to be hearing more about him. And of course, as we hear more about him, I will tell you everything that comes out from his campaign or from him, so we get to know him a little bit more. I also plan to make a video pretty soon about all the candidates, a background about them, what they're running on, thing like that, so you can have a better idea who's who. And then again, as we get more activity or action or proposals during this election, of course, I will be covering it all. Anyways, that is all the news as far as this first segment. Of course, the next segment will be about the Spotify Camp Nou, because we have confirmation of the timeline of the Spotify Camp Nou, or for the completion of the Spotify Camp Nou. But first, we have to do the comment section, because after all, that's what the podcast is all about. Barca Mama, who says, happy Monday, everyone. Happy Monday, Barca Mama. And happy Monday, everyone. I hope you had a blessed day. I hope every day you have is a blessed one. Whether it be Monday or not. I had an incredibly busy day. Plus, I didn't sleep because I always do the same crap. Friday night, I finish work, I do the podcast, and then it's Friday. I'm excited, right? I want to do stuff. So I either go out or I stay up late watching TV or whatever it may be, and I don't go to bed till 3, 4 a.m. And then Saturday, I like to be productive. Plus, this Saturday, there was a match. So I wake up early. So now I wake up and I'm exhausted, right? Because I went to bed super late the night before, woke up early on Saturday, and now I'm exhausted. And then plus you have the exhaustion from the whole week working. And then comes Sunday. And Sunday I crash, right? I'm tired, I'm exhausted. I sleep until 1, 2 p.m. And I wake up. I'm well rested. But guess what? When night comes along, I'm too well rested, because I've slept 12, 14 hours. So I can't fall asleep. So then I end up falling asleep super late. And well, guess what? Monday I have to be up early because I have work. And it's the same freaking cycle every single week. And that's exactly what happened. Saturday, Friday I went to bed late. Saturday I woke up super early. Yesterday I woke up at 2 p.m. And then at night I couldn't sleep. So today I think I had 5 hours of sleep. But anyways. Nielsen says, hi, Mo, watching from Dublin. Thanks for keeping us updated. At your messages make all the difference. Forza Barca. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. I appreciate the kind words. Thank you for watching, and thank you for your comment. And let's see. Zaidi says, hey, Mo, who would you choose, Laporta or Font? I think it's too early. I think I want to hear. Now, of course, we have been hearing for Font for quite some time, because he did run for re-election. For elections, or for the presidency back in when was the election? 2021? Yeah, 2021. So we did hear from him back then. We've been hearing from him ever since. Obviously, we know what Laporta's about because he has been the president. So technically, I do know enough about the two. But nonetheless, I still want to watch the campaign, see what the two of them have to say, see what the other two have to say, right? We still have Marc Siria and Xavi Villajuana and this new guy, William Maddock, who I know nothing about, and then decide. Right? I think it's too early. I want to see what everyone has to offer, and then based on that, make my decision. Even though, again, I really think that it's going to be Laporta who wins. Sereoga says, what should we do with Kunde in Champions League nights? Kunde needs like a couple of slaps on the face and tell him to, hey, bro, can you get it together? But I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. That's something that Flick is going to have to figure out, how to reactivate Kunde, if you want to call it that, and bring him back to his old form. I don't know, maybe special training sessions, maybe sit with him and watch tapes of him and be like, look, this is what you're doing, this is where you're messing up, this is how you should fix it, these are the good things that you're doing, keep doing these are the bad things that you're doing, this is how to improve them. Maybe tactical sessions, maybe special training sessions. I don't know. After all, that's what coaches are for. They're there every day with the players, they see what's going on and whatever it is, Flick is going to have to do something, right? And this is what separates good coaches from bad ones. To be a coach is not just like, oh, I have a good tactical plan. It's also being able to handle these kind of situations, because it happens almost to everyone, right? You have a great player that all of a sudden is not performing, and you have to be able to figure out why and how to fix it, right? And that's what makes good coaches, is that they're able to do that. So I hope Flick is able to identify the problem and is able to fix it, or at least come up with a solution, because at the end of the day, the only one who can fix it is Kunde himself. But hopefully Flick can, identify the problem, come up with a solution, present that solution to Kunde, and hopefully Kunde can apply that solution, because he's been very subpar. And if we want to progress in the Champions League, we cannot be having the mistakes that Kunde has been doing. That fuck up against Mallorca, where he pretty much gets the ball stolen away from him in the most childish way by Gianbergili, that cannot happen in the Champions League, because Gianbergili then takes the shot. It gets intercepted by Eddie Garcia, but it also happens because Gianbergili takes a little bit too long to get the shot out. That's not going to happen against a team like Bayern or Arsenal or Manchester City or even Liverpool, who are playing like crap, or even Madrid, who are absolute trash. Because you lose the ball like that in the box against Mbappe, against Haaland, you're going to get punished. So those mistakes cannot happen. And I really hope that Flick can find a way to fix that. Surya says, hey, Mo, what is the standard time that you go to on live? I'm missing your streams a lot. I sometimes see start at 12 a.m. And sometimes at 8 p.m. Is there any time we can keep track of? So the Monday, Wednesday, Friday podcasts, they're usually scheduled for 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sometimes I'll start them a little bit later, like 7:45 or 7:50. Like today, we started at 7:50. But that's usually the start time. It's like 7:30. That's the scheduled start time. Yesterday, I went live around midnight, but that wasn't podcast. That was just I worked on Sunday during the day, and then in the evening, I watched the Super Bowl. Next thing you know, it was like 11 p.m. It was too late to film, edit, and post. So instead, I did 2 short lives, gave the news, and ended them. Those weren't really podcasts where I do this, right? Where I sit here and read the comments and answer them. That was just a simple, quick 10-minute live. Here's the news. Peace out. I'm going to bed type thing. But yeah. All right. Let's get back to the news. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we have to talk about our stadium, our fortress, our home, the historic, the legendary Camp Nou, now called the Spotify Camp Nou, thanks to what I think one of the best sponsorship deals in the history of football, which is the Spotify deal. Now, we do have an update, a confirmed timeline for the completion of the Spotify Camp Nou, which, of course, is undergoing major renovation, much needed renovation, because, of course, it was a pretty old stadium. It was built back in 1957. I think the 3rd tier was added in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken. But nonetheless, it needed to be refurbished. And that's exactly what's happening with the 3rd tier. Was completely demolished, and now a new 3rd tier, it's taken its place. And the first 2 tiers have been completely refurbished. So it's not a full renovation. It's kind of like a hybrid, right? A renovation is you keep the structure and you just renovate it, right? New paint, new seats, new lights, whatever. Then there is the actual building of a new stadium where you demolish the old one and you build one in its place. This was a hybrid, right? The first 2 tiers, those were renovated, right? They completely refurbished them. But the 3rd tier was demolished and a new one took its place. So it's kind of like a hybrid. And of course, being that it's a hybrid, it takes a lot longer. Believe it or not, it takes longer than a new construction, because new construction, you're starting fresh. And it takes longer than, obviously, the renovation, which takes the least amount of time. But here, it takes longer than a new construction because you have to demolish part of the structure while maintaining the integrity of the structure that's going to remain. But nonetheless, I don't want to bore you with that stuff. But the Camp Nou, as we know, we're back to it. But right now, we're only back with a 1 1B, 1A and 1B licenses, which allow us to use the south goal and the two lateral stands, as you can see in the picture. But the north goal is still without a license. That's a 1C license, even though construction is done there, right? The construction is done. And right now, Barcelona are waiting for the license from the city for 1C so people can start occupying that north goal. And once we get it, which is expected to arrive by the Levante match on February 22nd, so in a couple of weeks, then the capacity of the stadium will go up from its current 45,000 people to 62,000 people. But once that happens, the stadium is not done, right? The third ring is still being built. When is that going to be done? We got an update. Also, the stadium's going to have a roof. When is that going to be done? We also have an update, and this update is coming directly from Joan Laporta, who gave a final interview before he resigned ahead of the elections. Now, in regards to the 1C license, this is what Joan Laporta had to say. It's something that's really upsetting me. It's obvious that this part of the stadium is also finished, the north stand. We're told that the access needs improvement, and we're working on it. The problem is that it was supposed to be ready by the first week of January. It's February now, and we still haven't received the permits for the north stand and the supporter stand, the 1957 stand. So Joan Laporta stated that, confirming that yes, construction on the north stand is completely done. They've submitted all the paperwork. The city wanted the access points to be improved. Barcelona did it. They submitted more paperwork. And now they're just waiting for the city to approve it. And once they do, again, the capacity of the Camp Nou will go up from 45,000 to 62,000 people. And also Laporta confirming something I told you about when I talked about the supporter section, that Barcelona were negotiated with the groups that made up the supporter section so they can come back to the Camp Nou. And I said, even if the negotiations go well and they agree to come back, Barcelona still need the licenses for their stand, because the supporter section, they have their own stand where they sit, or actually they don't sit. There's no seats. They stand. And that stand has its own access points. That way the supporters do not interact with the rest of the stadium, right? They do that for safety reasons. So we still need the licenses for those too. Now, more updates. And this is where the updates in regards to the timeline comes in. The stadium should be finished by 2027. Everything should be completed by the end of 2026, and then the roof will be added in 2027. It requires 4 months of inactivity in the stadium, and I think it can be finished by the end of 2027. But it's not just the stadium. It's the campus, the surrounding area, the modifications that need to be made. We have to start now. So, timeline is, by the end of 2026, by the end of this year, the third ring should be done, and the stadium should be operating at full capacity, which is 105,000 people. So February 22nd against Levante, we go up from 45,000 to 62,000. And by the end of the year, we go up from 62,000 to 105,000, which is the full capacity. Then in 2027, that's when they're going to start installing the roof. The roof is going to take the entire year. And during that year, 4 months, Barcelona will not be able to use the stadium while they install the roof. Now, Laporta was asked, are we going to go back to Montjuic during those 4 months? And this is what he said. We don't plan to return to Montjuic because it can be arranged in conjunction with La Liga and the Champions League schedules if we qualify. I think it can be coordinated well. So there you have it, folks. That's the timeline. February 22nd, 1C license, 62,000 people. End of 2026. Full capacity, 105,000 people. 2027, roof installed. It's going to take the whole year, 4 months, no activity. But Laporta says it's going to be coordinated to where during those 4 months, we don't have to go somewhere else. Maybe some of it will be in the summer, and then, because there you have like 3 months, and then maybe the 4th month would be when the league starts, and you can just coordinate where all your matches are away matches, and then eventually you come back to the stadium. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, I would put a question mark on this timeline because as we've seen before, when it comes to the stadium, well, we haven't really gotten the truth from Laporta and his board. We were supposed to go back November of 2024, and that got pushed to December. Then it got pushed to February. Then it got pushed to April. Then it got pushed to May. And then it got pushed to August. And finally, we returned in October, a year after we were supposed to return. Same thing with the 1C license, supposed to be January. Now it's February. I would put a question mark on it. But anyways, that's the timeline. I'm just here to bring you the news. You tell me whether you believe it or not. But either way, I think once the stadium is done, we are going to have the best stadium in Europe, undoubtedly. I mean, it's already looking beautiful. In fact, I'm going to see it next month in March when I go and watch the Barcelona versus Rayo Vallecano at the Camp Nou, which, of course, I'm going to take my camera with me. And I will do a special vlog or a special video so you too can see how the stadium is looking from a fan perspective. Because when you watch the match, you just see the field, right? Maybe an aerial shot, but you don't really see stadium, what's around it, the access points, the hallways, the bathrooms. Well, maybe not the bathrooms because you can't film in a bathroom. No Diddy. But I'll make a video, so stay tuned to the channel, even though that's in like a month or a month and a half. Anyway, so let's get back to the news, and then we are going to talk about the Dubai deal, because I know you guys want to know all about it, and why wouldn't you? It's a crazy deal. But first, let's do the comment section, starting with a donation. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you, Sereoga, for the incredible and generous donation. But Sereoga says, thank you for keeping us always updated. Bisca Barca. No, thank you, my friend, for watching, and thank you for your donation. That's very, very generous of you. Excuse me. My allergies are kicking my ass again. Who gets allergies in the winter? Jesus. Let's see. Magazine Africa says, what's up, Mo? Do we actually want Laporta to get second term, or there's just one better at the moment? Again, like I said before, I don't want to jump to any conclusions. The elections, well, the campaigning is officially starting now. So in the next month, we're going to be hearing from all candidates. Maybe we'll see some debates. We'll wait. So I don't want to, jump the gun and say, oh, this guy or that guy. First, I want to hear what everyone has to offer. And then, I'll make up my mind, which maybe I'll share, maybe not. I don't know. I kind of want to keep it when it comes to the election, just like, here's the information. You guys decide. Maybe I'll give you my opinion. But again, for now, put me in the undecided box, because, again, I want to hear from everybody and see what everyone has to offer. Because, we've mostly been hearing about Font and obviously Laporta because he's the president, but we haven't heard much about Syria. We haven't heard much about Xavi Villajuana. And now the new guy, William Maddock, I don't even know anything about him. I don't even know what he looks like. All I know is he's like a descendant from British, like this British people, British club kind of congregation that used to play football, used to organize matches in Barcelona before the existence of FC Barcelona. And he says something along that group kind of had influenced a lot, influenced Barcelona, something with the Blaugrana colors and how they are connected to the British flag. I don't know anything about that. Again, I'm going to do some research about it, and then, of course, I'll tell you all about it. Let's see. Mike says, I know it's getting repetitive now, but honestly, come this summer, Barcelona should sell Koundé. $10 a bag of peanuts would close the deal. Koundé doesn't have the hunger anymore to play for Barca. Honestly, if Koundé does not revert the situation by the end of the season, yeah, I wouldn't mind selling him. Now, of course, we would have to figure out who could replace him. But here's the thing. Koundé recently renewed until 2030. So I don't see him wanting to leave, even if Barcelona says, we want to sell you. That's the only problem. Let me see. So there says, we really need a good striker who gives 50-plus goals. We are missing a lot of chances. And also, is Rashford even good? Very inconsistent. Maybe we'll be better off bringing Gian Virgili for the future. We definitely need a striker. We definitely need a striker. I mean, we desperately need a striker. Let's put it that way. And yes, maybe not 50 plus, But definitely 35, 40, right? We need that. We're missing that. And I say not necessarily 50 plus because A, those are very rare to come by and they're extremely expensive. And B, the good thing about Barca is we have other people who can also score, right? So we don't have to, we're not like Madrid who have to depend on Mbappe putting up 50 goals because that's the only guy scoring, right? We can have a striker that can score maybe 30, 35 goals or 40 because we also have people like Coutinho who can score, like Lamine who can score, like Pedri who can score, like Fermin who can score, like Olmo who can score. I mean, shit, everybody on the team has scored. Eric Garcia has scored. Pau Cubarsí has scored. Kunde has scored. Balde has scored. You know, the only one who hasn't scored is probably Juan Garcia. And never say never because you never know. He might end up scoring too. So, but yeah, we definitely need striker. As far as Rashford, you know, like I've said before, I'm not convinced. I think 30 million for someone who's that inconsistent. Um, Not my cup of tea, but that's just my opinion. Chuchu says, "What's up, Chuchu? Good to see you in the chat section." But Chuchu says, "Football season is over. Back to soccer season. Hello, Mo. How have you been? Do you think FC Barcelona is ready to win the Champions League? I don't think so." Well, welcome back, my friend. I'm glad you are back. Were you happy with the Super Bowl results? I was. I don't really watch football except for the Super Bowl. And for some reason, when I turned it on, I was like, which team do I want to win? I don't care about either. I'm gonna go with the Seahawks, and the Seahawks won, and that was it. So that's the extent of my football watching season is watching a Super Bowl. But let me know, were you happy with the results? Anyone else in the chat section who watched the Super Bowl? Were you guys happy with the results? Were you guys happy with the halftime show? I like the halftime show. Let me know. But to answer your question, Choo Choo, I don't think so. Not right now. At least I haven't seen enough. And this is why when we drew Atletico Madrid for the semifinal, I said, I like this. Not only for entertainment purposes, because I'd much rather Barcelona play 2 semifinals against Atletico Madrid versus Real Sociedad or Athletic Club, but also because I think this is a good time to test ourselves, right? Because, we started the season really bad, playing horribly, and then we kind of start reverting the situation. But since we started reverting the situation, we haven't really played against any big clubs, right? We had the Spanish Super Cup final against Real Madrid, but that's a small club, right? So we haven't really tested ourselves recently since we improved against, a big club. So Atletico Madrid is going to be a good test. 2 semifinals, that's a good test to see where we are, to calibrate. And it comes right before the knockout stages. So again, it's a good time to test ourselves. So we'll see. We'll see. But so far, what we have seen from before, no. But the team has been improving with each match. So we'll see. We'll see. It's not a definitive no. At this moment, it's no. But it doesn't mean that no at all, because I think the team has been improving. And who knows? They might just surprise us. Messi Super Ballon d'Or says, Mo, any news about Barcelona chatting group? When can we expect them? Oh, chanting. I was like, chatting? Like a WhatsApp group? The supporter section, the negotiations are still ongoing. Barcelona, Laporta banned them back in, was it 2024? Yeah, 2024. He banned them because they wouldn't pay the 27,000 euros that he bill that he sent them for previous fines. And supposedly they were going to come up with a new supporter section. And then now he's back negotiating with the same exact group. I think it has to do with the elections because, there was chance at the Camp Nou. Supporter section, yes. Laporta, no. So I think he saw that, hey, if I'm going to have a chance at winning this election, I need to get the supporter section back. So right now negotiations are ongoing. I don't know. I know that it's going well, but I don't know what the deadline is for those negotiations. We'll see. Now, if Laporta is really counting on the supporter section deal to be done so he can win re-election, then we should expect news pretty soon. Valeriano says, if Laporta don't win election, will the new president change Barcelona future project deals? If a deal is signed, then no, you can't really change it. Because if you try to break the contract, then these contracts have clauses that, you have to pay some kind of penalty for breaking the contract. And if it doesn't have a penalty clause, you have to pay the whole contract out, right? So no, you can't just cancel stuff if the contract is signed. Now, if something that maybe the club was negotiating, then yeah, technically the new president could say, that's not really a good deal. Let's just scrap it, stop the negotiations and leave it there. But if it's a signed deal, no, you can't just change it. Now, Gabe says, I'm going for Laporta because he's the one who's taken us in good direction, and Hansi Flick also wants him in. Flick said he wants stability. He didn't necessarily directly endorse Laporta. Now, as far as a good direction, you can argue both ways. Now, is the club doing better? Yes. But I mean, I think it would be a problem if it wasn't, right? Because when Laporta took over Barcelona, we were rock bottom. You couldn't do worse, right? So I think we were going to do better by default, regardless who would have won, because there was no way to do worse. The only way to do worse was for the closure of the club. And right now, there would be no channel because there would be no Barca. Now, are there enough improvements to justify a re-election? That's when I say I'm on the fence. Have we improved in some things? Yes. But the whole we've saved Barcelona, that's not necessarily true because we're still spending more than we're bringing in. 5 years into the presidency of Laporta, and we're still spending more that we're bringing in. And as a result, the debt has not been reduced a single penny. Even though, good things now, even though Laporta has signed some amazing sponsorship deals, including the Spotify deal, including renegotiating the Nike deal, which we still don't know what the actual figures are, because Laporta just said, trust me, bro. We still, in other sponsorship deals, right, 30-plus sponsorship deals, we've signed a lot of sponsorship deals, and that has brought in a lot of money to the club. And despite all that money, we still haven't reduced the debt by a single penny. Why? Because we're still overspending. We're still spending more than we're bringing in, and that's a problem. So has the club improved? Yes. Has improved enough to where it fits into this whole storyline that, oh, the club is saved? No, because the club is not saved. It's doing better? Yes, but it's not saved. Our debt, it's still 1.4 billion euros. That's a lot of fucking money. And that's, of course, operational debt. That's not to count the Camp Nou debt, which I don't like to count it because that's going to pay for itself, right? It's an asset. So I would say Laporta's term so far has been 50-50. It's not a great, but it's not bad either. It's 50-50. He's done some good things, but he's also done some bad things. Other bad things. I don't like the fact that he has failed to replace over 30 different positions on his board, and instead he has surrounded himself with his buddies. I don't like that. I don't like that he runs the club with no plan, where he just improvises. I don't like that. Good things. Again, the sponsorship deals. He's got spending. Not enough, but he's got spending. He's gotten rid of some of the really big contracts like Piqué, Jordi Alba, etc., etc. So there's been some good things. There's been some bad things. But I think there's a lot of false narratives out there in the media of either people making it look like Laporta is Jesus Christ, and he's not. Or there's even some people, some very few people who make it seem like Laporta is Satan, and he's not either. He's not the total savior of the club, but he's also not like sinking the club. He's somewhere in the middle, 50-50. Anyways, let's get back to the news. Because we do have to talk about one of the good things that Joan Laporta has been doing, which is, of course, the sponsorship deals, the deals who have brought in money to the club. And the latest one is one that we've spoken about in a previous video, and that is I missed the slide. He talks about how important the Camp Nou will be to bring in money. Anyways, but that is the Dubai deal. The Dubai deal that we talked about a few weeks ago, where it was revealed that Barcelona had signed or had reached an agreement with a company based out of the UAE in order to license the Barcelona brand. Now, we found out more, and it appears that there were two deals on the table that Barcelona were in negotiations for. One deal that was approved today by the board of directors, And the second deal that it looks like it's going to be scrapped. Now, let's talk about the scrap deal real quick before we talk about the big one that was approved. There was one deal is based in Dubai. The other deal is based in Abu Dhabi. The Abu Dhabi one is the one that's losing its momentum and it looks like it's going to be scrapped. The Dubai deal, that's the one they got approved today by the board of directors. So let's talk about the Abu Dhabi deal, which is losing momentum. That deal was a plan to build a high-end residential complex, right? Apartment buildings, stores, amenities, facilities, etc., etc. Kind of like a mini city. And that mini city would have the Barcelona licensing brand, Barcelona logos, theme, etc. Kind of like this picture that you're seeing. That's not really actually it. This is kind of just some crap that people came up with. I'm just using it for reference, right? So this was a high-end residential complex planned in Abu Dhabi. And this deal is losing momentum. And it looks like Barcelona will scrap it altogether because they have doubts about the sustainability of the deal. So this one, it doesn't look like it's going through. The one that did get approved today by the board of directors, this is a deal in Dubai with a company called Aspen Holdings. Now, Aspen Holdings are planning to build 4 residential luxury towers, and these towers will bear the Barcelona branding. And obviously, you cannot use the brand without paying for it. So Barcelona would make money from this deal because Aspen have to pay Barcelona to use their brand. Now, this would kind of be similar to the Mercedes-Benz residential complex or the Bugatti building or even the Louis Vuitton shopping center. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I preloaded them. I looked them up. But this is kind of what's going on in Dubai. They like to spend money on stupid shit. But anyways, this is, for example, the Bugatti building, right? This is a building that officially has the Bugatti branding. And whoever's building this, I think it's Bugatti. I'm sure they had to pay a lot of money to Bugatti, which is owned by the Volkswagen Group, to use their brand, right? Here's another example. This one is the Mercedes-Benz buildings, right? Same thing here. Mercedes, Bugatti City, they had to pay Mercedes money to use their branding, right? Looks pretty cool. So it would be something similar, right? Where it would be 4 residential buildings, luxury buildings. They would have the Barca licensing, and in exchange, Barcelona would receive money for allowing Aspen Holdings to use the Barcelona brand in their residential towers. Now, so far, it's reported that Barcelona have received a down payment from this deal, around 6 to 8 million euros, and that Barcelona will receive 10 million euros per year. We don't know how long. They're saying the deal might be 30 to 40 years deal. And during that 30 to 40 year deal, Barcelona would get 10 million euros per year. So Aspen Holdings can use the Barcelona brand and logos and theme in their 4 residential buildings. Now, they're also saying that these residential towers will include a Barcelona store, a Barca store where you can buy merchandise. So Barcelona will be able to make money that way as well. And a mini museum. Now, it's reported that this deal was approved by the board of directors today, but it still has to be ratified by the General Assembly, and that's going to happen on March 15th. And of course, that's good news. Why? Because usually when you're going to ratify something, you have to present the full details to the General Assembly. And presenting full details means that we're going to know about the full details of this deal. So guess what? Make sure you subscribe, because once that happens, I will make a video about it, and you will know more about this Dubai deal. Now, the Dubai deal will not include the logo on the kit. They were saying the Abu Dhabi deal did. The Abu Dhabi deal, instead of the UNHCR, which is set to expire this summer, the logo of that company was going to appear on the kit. The Dubai deal doesn't include that. So Barcelona will negotiate with a different company to put their logo instead of the UNHCR, which is, to me, honestly, it's a shame because it's always good to partner up with charitable organizations. And instead, we're scrapping the UNHCR. Said, fuck those refugees. We're going to put a different company's logo that's going to pay us instead of we pay them. But anyways, that's all about the Dubai deal. Let's get back to the comment section. And then we're going to talk about Dro, because Dro had some statements after his debut, which have caused a lot of uproar. People saying, Dro's insulted us. Fuck you, Dro. So we're going to look at it. Did he really slight us? We'll talk all about it. Edward says, what's up, Mo? I wonder, do you know or remember if Messi ever sat out a match because he was redlining? I don't know, but I think they are not resting Lamine. I mean, on top of my head, I'm sure, yes. I don't know. I mean, I feel like Messi used to play everything. He hate being subbed out. He says it himself that he likes to be played, He'd rather come off the bench than be subbed out. So I can't remember on top of my head. As far as are they resting Lamine, look, if we've learned anything from Hansi Flick and his staff, is that he knows what the fuck he's doing. And if Flick is playing Lamine, the minutes that he's playing him is because he knows, based on data and science and his doctors and trainers and all his staff, that Lamine is capable of playing those minutes. So I wouldn't worry about it because, again, it's Flick. If this was a different coach like Koeman or something else, I'd be like, yeah, what the fuck is he doing? I don't know if I trust him. But it's Flick. He has given me no reason to doubt what he's doing. So I'm not going to doubt what he's doing. Sereoga says Araujo 2, 2030. I think Araujo is 2031. Let me double check. Ronald Araujo, the best defender ever. Just kidding. Yeah, Ronald Araujo is 2031. George says, instead of Rashford, why don't we buy Abde? Whew. I mean, at that point, might as well sign my dog because he's pretty good. He's very good at chasing balls. He's fast. Abde, bro, come on, man. We've been through this. Abde. Come on. Chuchu says, I'm a diehard Patriots fan for over 25 years, so I'm sad. Oh, man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry your team lost. Like I said, I had no really skin in the game. I was just like, Seahawks. And they won. So it worked out for me, but not that I care. I was like, Seahawks, because I'm not really a Seahawks fan or anything. I'm not even a football fan, but hey, you guys have won a lot of Super Bowls, so I guess you can't be too sad, right? But I'm sorry your team didn't win, my friend. JYD Grove says, hello, Big Mo. Thank God I'm able to join the live. Greetings from Nigeria. It's true that Florentino Perez called a bank in Spain to raise cash for Laporta when he was contesting for Barca's presidency. Oh, I don't know about that. That's a good question. I'm going to look into that. But I didn't know that. Or I never heard about that, about Florentino Perez raising money. I mean, he did help us with 6th Street. Remember that sponsorship with 6th Street? Because they also have a deal with Madrid. So he kind of like was like, hey, Laporta, put you in contact with this. Because at the time, or maybe he still does, but at the time, I guess Florentino Perez understood something very important, which a lot of Madrid fans and a lot of Barca fans don't understand. And is that Barca needs Madrid and Madrid needs Barca. El Clásico is the most watched football game in the world. We need each other. It's like when fans say, like, we should leave to the League On. And do what? The League On can't even sell their TV rights. No one wants to buy their TV rights because no one wants to watch that shit. And you want Barca to go there? You know how much money we would lose if we went to League On? What makes La Liga so much money and what keeps La Liga relevant is Barca and Madrid. So Barca needs Madrid the same way Madrid needs Barca. And for some reason, the fans just don't understand that. And Florentino Perez used to understand that because he helped out Barca. But for some reason now, he's just like full attack mode. I mean, I don't know if he's just trying, I do know. He's just trying to compensate for his shortcomings, but they need each other, and that's just a fact. But anyways, I just realized I never changed the screens. But anyways, not important. Let's get back to the news. Let's do the last bit of news, and then we'll do more comments. I just want to get rid of the last bit of news because Dro has caused a lot of controversy. A lot of people are upset on social media about recent statements that he made. Now, Dro finally got his debut with PSG. He played against Marseille. I think PSG won 6-0 or something like that. Let me check. 5-0. They won 5-0 yesterday, and during that victory, Dro debuted with his new team. And afterwards, he had an interview, some statements about his arrival in PSG, which have caused a lot of uproar amongst Barcelona fans. Now, this is what the former Barcelona Academy player said. Luis Enrique is an incredible manager. Everyone told me he was an incredible manager, and that's one of the reasons I signed here. He has a lot of faith in young players. Paris is the best place for me. And finally, when he was asked about the difference between La Liga and Ligue 1, he said, differences between Ligue 1 and La Liga? No, they're both great leagues. Besides, I've only played a few minutes here, so I can't really say. So this, of course, has caused a lot of uproar. First of all, again, I picked the statements that have caused the uproar, not the rest, because then he was saying, yeah, Marseille, blah, 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 blah. I don't give a shit. But he talked about, Luis Enrique, and everybody was like, wow, he's sliding Hansi Flick because he's calling Luis Enrique an incredible manager and blah, blah, blah. This is why I decided to bring it up, because I think we are living during weird times where everybody is so polarized. It is like if you like one thing means you hate the other. Or if you hate one thing, it means you love the other. And it's neither here nor there. These things are not mutually exclusive, okay? Luis Enrique is an incredible manager. Dro is not lying. Luis Enrique is an incredible manager. He has 2 sextuples, one with Barca and one with PSG. He built the foundation of what Spain is today. Spanish national team, that's what I mean. And saying that Luis Enrique is an incredible manager doesn't mean all of a sudden that Dro is saying Flick is a terrible manager. They both can be incredible managers. Just because you say Luis Enrique is incredible doesn't mean you're saying Flick is shit. Or just because you say Flick is great doesn't mean you're saying Luis Enrique is shit. The two of them can be incredible managers that believe in young players. Right? The two of them can't be good. Plus, he's saying Paris is the best for me. He's not saying Paris is the best ever. And if you're not in Paris, you're an idiot. And it's like I don't understand. I don't understand why people are getting mad or angry. I mean, leave the guy alone. Barcelona had a plan for him. He decided he didn't want to be patient and get minutes somewhere else. And that's it. He went somewhere else. I hope he's happy. I hope he succeeds. No need to all of a sudden vilify the guy. Dro's a piece of shit, and he's sliding Flick, and he's sliding Barcelona. He's not. What do you expect him to say? Luis Enrique fucking sucks, and Paris is a shithole. Barcelona forever. Flick forever. Woohoo! But here I am. I'm a PSG player. Let's get a grip, Barca fans. Let's get a grip. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say. Again, I wish Dro the best. Not against Barca, if he plays it ever against Barca. But let it be. He's gone. He's done. There's a million other guys that can replace him. We have the best academy in the world. One guy leaves, 20 people pop up in his place. Anyways, let's do a few more comments, and then we'll end this. And then I think I will do another video. There's more news that didn't make the cut because of time constraints. But let's see what everyone is saying. Where are we? Right here. Edward says, do you know how many Catalan subcontractors got to dip their peaks in the Lima construction contract so Barca can never activate the penalty clause in the delays on completions? I don't, but I do know that Barcelona had to hire other contractors to finish some jobs that Lima couldn't finish on time. So that's a problem because A, the company that you hired is not doing its job, even though you're paying them to. And now you have to spend even more money because now you have to hire other companies that specialize in stuff that this company that you hired to begin with cannot do. And C, why aren't you activating the clause? I mean, it's costing you money. It's costing you money because you're not returning to the stadium when you were supposed to return. And now it's costing you even more money because now you have to hire other companies to do jobs that the company that you're paying to do that job cannot do. And this is what I mean when people are like, oh, Laporta, the savior, he saved the club. I'm like, yes, there's good things that he's done, but there's also bad things that he's done. He's not the savior that you think he is. He's not a terrible president either, but you know. Seregoa says, I understand right next to players have the longest contracts with marks on performance. Ter Stegen, Araujo, Kunde. If I understand right next players have the longest contract with. I don't know if I understand your question, my friend. Forgive me. I might be just, my brain just might be fried because it was a long day. But if you clarify, I will gladly read your comment again. Shava the Hut says, this might not be a popular opinion, but I think Ronaldo Nazario at his peak was the GOAT, especially the 96-97 season with Barca. He was doing things not even Messi was doing at 20. Do you agree? Here's the problem with Nazario. Don't get me wrong. Phenomenal player. Phenomenal player. One of my favorite players growing up. Even though I liked Ronaldinho a little bit better just because Ronaldinho had that flair, right? But here's why Ronaldo Nazario cannot be the GOAT. Not because of what he did wasn't impressive, not at all. I mean, for anyone who had the honor and the pleasure of watching Ronaldo Nazario knows that it was watching magic on the field. But Ronaldo Nazario cannot be the GOAT because he didn't do it for that long, right? Because being the GOAT is not only doing great things, is also longevity goes into it. How long can he do those great things? And nobody has done it as long as Messi or even Penaldo. Nobody. Even Ronaldo Nazario, which is a shame because obviously what stopped Ronaldo Nazario was the injuries, right? His knee, which is a shame because had he stayed healthy and we would have been able to enjoy him for so much longer. And wow, what a treat would have been to watch Ronaldo Nazario for that much longer. But we have another donation. Santiago says, I was actually impressed with Tommy Marquez with whatever minutes he got in the last match. Midfield is a position that we never had to worry about. Exactly. That's why I say, just let the draw thing be. It's like he left, whatever. We have a million other midfielders that could take his place. No need to vilify the guy. No need to, pretend like he's Figo or something because he's not, right? But thank you for your donation, my friend. And Sulaiman says, I think people are giving too much attention to Dro. He's a kid for crying out loud. Besides, he's not the first to take that route. So let's wish him luck in his career. It's that simple. I agree with you, my friend. Messi Super Ballon d'Or says, Mo, you're like Ferran in the box. A red man and how high I'm a ghost. I'm a ghost. Yeah, pretty much. I disappeared. Senegoa says he disappeared like Kunde in every game, but just trying to keep everyone smiling. Yes, I did. I disappeared just like those guys. And McBarca says, eFootball, a video game just released a full Camp Nou stadium once it's done construction. And honestly, it looks beautiful and crazy. It's and crazy big. Oh, okay. That's awesome. I'm going to have to check it out. And with that note, let's end on a great note because, yes, I cannot wait for the Camp Nou to be ready. Let's end this live stream. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for your donations, your likes, your comments, your subscriptions. If you haven't hit the like button yet, make sure you do. If you haven't subscribed yet, what the hell are you waiting for? Make sure you do. And of course, drop a comment down below to let me know all your thoughts and opinions about all the news that we shared today. I will see you guys in the next video. And as always, Visca Barça.